Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the next Summoner Scuffle. Today we have Ciabatta Bread and Redacted Baggins facing off. Fuzzy, you have anything to say about our contestants before we get started?
This is gonna be fun. So Ciabatta, we wanted to bring back on and kind of in homage of the original inspiration for the Summoner Scuffles. He and level three CPU did their Summoner Showdowns a long time ago when Ben and I were much newer to Summoner Wars, and this is our continuation of that effort. And Mr. Baggins is his opponent for a number of reasons, not the least of which is his fondness for letting the random faction picker choose what faction he's going to play any given time he queues up. And the reason this is our format is in honor of one of the tournaments that's going on right now. Tortugatron organized a Turtle Panic tournament where you don't get to pick your factions. It's randomized or randomized depending on how much you bribe him, I guess. But what you get is what you get, and what your matchup is what your matchup is going to be. So these two contestants have no idea what factions they're going to be playing in the next 10 minutes because we're just that mean.
And I guess maybe we should roll it right now to give him like at least 10 minutes of preparation.
10 minutes to cram before the exam.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it really depends on who you are, whether the random faction sounds fun or whether it sounds absolutely terrifying. Never would I ever. And there's some matchups you might get where it's just like, crap. Now I got to play cave goblins against fungal dwarves, but that's just the way of it.
And we did decide that even though what you get is what you get, if we end up with something truly horrific and time permits, we will just queue up another game and
Yep.
hope the same person doesn't get hosed twice. So
So
stay tuned if it's a quick Cave Goblins massacre in either
yeah,
direction.
it'll be great. So let's go to here. So here we have Summoner SWZone.com, the home of all the unofficial fan resources for Summoner Wars, and I can click on Tools and Apps here, and then I can click on Faction Picker, and we will get two random factions. I'm gonna say Ciabatta's on the right, and Redacted Baggins, Mr. Baggins, is on the left.
And we will not be playing Cave Goblins versus Cave
We will,
Goblins.
we will not. I mean, that'd be a fun one. All right, I'm gonna hit run. Let's see it. So on the left will be Mr. Baggins, and we're no redos or anything. Oh, it's Fungal Dwarves versus Swamp Orcs. Interesting.
Oh man, well, I
So
want the Swamp Orc side. I'm sorry.
so
This is a mean one.
so Ciabatta's got the Swamp Orcs and Baggins has got the Fungal Dwarfs. Let me. You have any quick thoughts about this matchup while I tell the contestants this real quick?
We're just evil. That's my main thought. We just love torturing the contestant on the left. All right, so we actually have played this one before. Um, it was a route in the Swamp Works direction. So this is a potential chance for redemption for the Fungal Dwarves. I mean, much as Ben and I joke about, lopsided matchups, it's winnable for both sides. This one is tougher. It's one of Fungal Dwarves' tougher matchups. And definitely Fungal Dwarves is probably one of the more rage-inducing factions in Summoner Wars. Ben and I both
Heck
love
yeah.
them. I feel like the masses just want the mushroom guys to just disappear, to just get rid of that mold colony. So
Everyone hates Fungal Dwarves.
uh,
Like a C tier faction at this point, honestly.
well, I hated the Fungal Dwarfs nerf, actually. I did not want Koldak to go down one life.
I feel
Um,
like, yeah.
no, but, Colby and Joe definitely make decisions based on data that we don't always have access to, including, despite the fact that Joe will share quite a bit of it on Twitter, or not Twitter anymore. I think he's off Twitter and he's on Blue Sky. But definitely, the podcast guys have, I think, done a great job bringing the designers and developers closer to us. But nonetheless, we have our opinions about our factions. We as a community, um, just sometimes get into these mindsets about, which factions are stronger or weaker. And there are definitely balanced considerations that we don't know all the big bits and pieces of, which is all to say that even though I personally don't like that Koldak is getting nerfed, I accept it for the greater good, and I definitely accept the judgment of Plaidhead Games on this one. They are hated, which is why I'm rooting for them.
I'm still mad about it, but sure, I'll say what you said too. Fine, fine. I accept it. I accept it. Um, and real quick before we get started, yeah, I mean we could talk about this matchup, and I mean there's a lot of Fungal Dwarfs matchups that I feel like I haven't played a ton, but from everything I hear about this matchup and and the few times I've tried it, it seems like Swamp Orcs favored. And we could but we could explain a little bit about the factions to sort of make that make sense. God, these are two factions that are kind of hard to explain now that I'm thinking about it.
We could do this in have you ever played that game Neanderthal Poetry? I was just reading reviews where you have to describe words in words of one syllable or less. So I think my Neanderthal poetry would be mug nukes beasts. That's my one syllable summary of this matchup.
All right. I mean, that's good. I think we'll just get started then. Yeah, the Fungal Dwarves are very good where they can get a lot of infects. Their core engine just revolves around this fungal beast and the spore carrier that every time a fungal beast kills an enemy unit, or a friendly unit for that matter, it's replaced with a carrier. And anytime a carrier gets 3 boost, it becomes a beast. And so if you're able to just do a lot of this and just sort of infect is very strong, you can just spiral the board out of control. But if Muglug's able to just kill every beast every time it exists, and especially not put low health units in front of beasts, like say you have a faction that's very good at getting champs out and putting those in front of beasts instead, that's like the most effective possible counter you can have to fungal beasts. The other one being like just keeping them at a range, keeping them away from Kuldak, because Kuldak's ability boosting everything within 2 every time a friendly unit within 2 dies means that for him to win, the battlefield always needs to be within 2 of him. You want that perfect diamond of everything is within 2 of Kuldak. And if you ever deviate from that, you have too many units outside of that, you're losing value. Which is part of the reason why he can also be pretty susceptible to assassinations, just because he needs to be in there. But they are an economic machine. It can feel like near impossible to beat these guys on economy. If you meet them just head on trading for units. The Fungal Dwarves are one of, if not the weirdest faction, that you really need to change how you play against them to be denying this like infect machine in order to have a chance of winning economy. Or you can just like go for assassination or something. But just because of how strong Kulak is at pumping out boosts, you're going to be getting tons of boosts on your blood shamans. So you're going to be easily get a bunch more beasts with your spore carriers. You have mages, which are just like one of the best ranged units in the game. And then because you're going to have so many boosts, it's usually not that hard to get out Monstrosity, which is just a 5/13. So like there's that, and you have Maldar for another way to get boosts. And then they have their token like sort of surprise cards, just so they're not too predictable. Cough cough Crimson Order. Just like, so we have Stim Shrooms to just get a little bit of extra movement here and there, and the demand can get a crazy amount of burst damage, hypothetically. A lot of times you sort of use it to just like clear a board and just keep ahead on the mid board, but like you can win games if the opponent exposes their summoner to a demand. that's sort of just rambling off my little explanation for how fungal dwarfs works, and then maybe should we talk about how how swamp orcs work and how they count how they would work against it, or anything you want to add to fungal dwarfs, Fuzzy?
You covered fungal dwarves. Let's move on to swamp orcs.
Let's do it. How does swamp orcs work? What's going on here?
I'm just gonna repeat: Mug nukes beasts. Mug one-shot kill. Club one-shot kill.
That is true. Yeah, so for all the commons that Mug has that have, I guess it's any friendly unit that have boosts on it, you can take one boost off of each, and for each that you take a boost off of, you can do extra damage to cards up to 2 spaces away. So Muglug is just the ultimate cannon summoner in that way, and just be afraid. So then, of course, like the two like immediate like levers to pull that can be the downsides is, one, if Mug is like close to dead, well, how are you going to use her? And two, if she doesn't have a swamp, if there's no units that are boosted, well, she's also useless. So those are like the two things that can mean a game is not going good for Muglug. I see people that Swamp Orcs players seem to have no trouble building up a swamp in general. I struggle with it, but just playing these bog shamans that just accumulate boosts slowly in the back as things move around. Drudgers get extra moves to get more boosts on them. Both the Vine Mancer and the Witch just get a move every time they're boosted. Witches could let Muglug or a champion attack twice in a turn, which can be game winning. Vine Mancers are like one of the best sneaky movement tech abilities in the game, just to pull your own units to safety, sort of Wind Mage style, or pull enemy blockers out of the way. And yeah, we have Drudgers to keep Muglug safe. We also have Regenerate to keep Muglug safe. So it's a cannon summoner that, unlike all of the other cannon summoners, can actually stay alive and can actually be healed. So can have effectively quite a bit of health if you use all the Regenerates and your Drudgers.
Quite explode out the gate, though, because even though Mug can, throw all these melee swords at a distance, you lose quickly if you neglect your swamp. I think everyone's first naive attempt at playing Swamp Orcs probably featured a, very early active Muglug and not much swamp. And then the attack just peters out. So, much as I'm speaking in one syllable words because it's funny, this faction does take some sophistication to really play well. You do need patience, you do need board sense, and it's not just a matter of, charge forward, like charge upfield. So this will be interesting who gets the draw to try and explode and take out the other summoner before they get their pieces in gear. Fungal dwarves can do it with the right draw. If they get early stim shrooms, early gate, maybe even early demand, early ranged units. It's not a given that, once, they're going to turtle the way everyone played fungal dwarves when we were all learning fungal dwarves. I feel like as the playstyle of fungal dwarves is, has kind of evolved, I've definitely seen more aggressive fungal dwarves in tournament play, when people just know that they're going to be rushed as the fungal dwarf. If the fungal dwarf player knows that they're going to be rushed and they can't just turtle. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting who gets the pieces to just charge forward and try to either take out the swamp or take out the fungal infestation before the other one can even really get going. Or if they both turtle, or if they both just fight it out in the midfield and completely ignore the the sort of the secret sauce of the swamp or the fungal colony that they're supposed to be slowly brewing. It could be a brawl, it could be a turtle fest, or it could be just one side demolishes the other before they get anything going.
For sure. Well, with that, we've hit the time. Ready if I tell them to get started?
I am definitely ready.
All right, I will give them the go ahead, and we'll pull that up as soon as possible. And yeah, I don't know exactly like what the correct approach to this matchup from either side would be, because in some of the matchups where fungal dwarves really struggle, like I've heard sometimes just sort of turtling and like trying to build up your engine, even though it you really want fungal doors really want to set up in the mid board. Sometimes that's like all you've got is just to stay behind. But I feel like this is a matchup where if Cool could really get in there and get on the enemy's side, that is just the best path to victory. But I could be wrong about that. Like, what sort of dynamic would you predict we'd get? Like, where do you think the action would be happening in this game?
It's a little bit draw dependent.
Yeah.
I think it's a little draw dependent whose opening hands lend themselves to, you know, charging forward or hanging back a little. And fungal dwarves could go either way. You know, they could draw a lot of ranged units and just be like, well, I'm just going to snipe at you. Or they could just draw an early gate and be like, I'm going to face plant in your face and try to take out those bog shamans. I mean, I don't think this is an easy matchup for fungal dwarves. You know, we've kind of, I think when the people wrote that How to Beat the Fungal Dwarves guide, I think this was among the worst. This was kind of the best anti-fungal dwarf brains in the community. Definitely gave Swamp Orcs the edge. I think 60-40, something like that.
For
Oh
sure.
my gosh. I stare at their avatars and I'm like, we're playing like Crimson Order versus Jungle versus Savannah Elves. I still get tripped up by that.
It makes me sad, like, because like Midi Tree looks so cool. It's just it never sees play. So sad.
I could not agree more.
And were you able to pull up the game link, Fuzzy, so you can see it live?
I am doing that as we speak.
Awesome.
And I will actually remember to play this time. Or actually, I should say not pause it.
Yes. And we'll see. So, right off the bat, we have Baggins going first, which is probably good. Yeah, I feel.
I would want to go first as fungal dwarves, definitely. Like, I want every little bit of initiative I can get before Muglug takes center stage. There's only so many turns you get before that happens.
Yeah. When you're when you're mentioning like as when people first start playing with Muglug, you sort of just charge forward, and that's sort of like not what's become the better strategy. I feel so called out because that is still what I do with Muglug 100% of the time. Is I just run forward with her, and it doesn't work great for me. I'm not very patient in building up my swamp, like I see a lot of people that win with swamp orcs being.
It's not the most intuitive thing to realize that's what this faction wants to do. Like, you see a summoner that's capable of like throwing a dozen dice all in one go, and you just want to attack. But definitely, it's funny. Like, I think some people, the Swamp Orcs, I think, definitely appeals to the people who like, obsidian dwarves. I feel like just people who want that combat summoner, and wayfarers too. And it appeals to me as kind of the just that patient build your army player, the patient play for econ player. Like, I think it appeals to two very different, Summoner Wars personalities. Right. Are we seeing any action?
I think it may be the classic fungal dwarves. Fungal dwarves gotta think. Let's see. Yeah, I'm making a post real quick.
I'm just making sure that I don't get caught in a situation of watching a paused screen and commentating blind the way I did that very first scuffle that's just seared in my memory. like, am I sure? Am I watching the game? Am I sure I'm watching the
chat,
game?
so that was an interesting game we just watched. Game's finished now. Fuzzy, what did you think?
God, you don't know how terrified I was when I realized the game was continuing on, and I just been talking about. I guess I was following enough of your cues that no one stopped me and was like, there's a game being played.
It somehow worked. Well, it was very cool because you called out exactly what was gonna happen, like you just predicted it. So it basically fell in line anyway.
I have not watched that game back just out of sheer mortification. Although everyone who's, chatted with me about it claims that I was just psychic or something.
Yes, that's sometimes as someone who has streamed a little bit, I will say if there's sometimes it's just best not to watch it back. It's just best to put it on YouTube and not think about the embarrassing thing you said.
Thing I'm looking for is where are the timer screens? I don't usually play on desktop. So do
Yeah,
we get to see the clocks
nope,
on?
Joe removed them. They're gone.
Okay, so I haven't lost my mind. Okay, good. All right, so are our contestants okay? Like we're not dealing with technical issues or anything.
Yeah, I'm just sending them a quick message, but I've the fungal dwarves are very prone to this of just like like even turn one, like thinking about openings. It's like, oh, do I still want to advance if I don't have the gates, or like, do I want to just use a mage, or should I just stay here and put a shaman behind? Especially, I don't know, especially if you're just thinking about what sort of approach you want to be taking and how active and whatnot. All right, but Mr. Baggins says he is here. Especially,
No pressure.
yeah,
No
yeah.
pressure whatsoever.
Especially later in the games with Fungal Dwarves games, like I'll just have so many games where it's just like I have like 15 units on the board and I only get 3 moves, and which 3 of those units should I really be moving? And should I be trying to rupture that beast? Because I already have 3 other beasts, but it would seem pretty good because I get a bunch of boosts. Like there's there I've played them a lot and I feel competent with them, but like I they just seem like example A of just like you have not mastered this faction until you've played 1,000 games with them. Like I still feel very out of my water in a lot of matchups with Fungal Dwarves.
I would be such a nightmare playing on stream because I wouldn't be boring because I would sit there making every single conceivable move and undoing it. Like you could just sit there and comment on my very thorough exploration of the options, and the opponent, or the commentator or the opponent, would get to see every single one of my cards in real time. And I almost think I'd accept that as a handicap over not being able to visualize the board. Like I need a marker, and yeah, I would like do a dry erase marker on my screen rather than like survive without the visual. I don't even know if I can do that with this kind of screen. That would not be good if I scribbled on a work monitor and like realized it was permanent.
It is ever since I started doing the little arrows on stream to just like be like explaining what I'm talking about. Like now, like even like in person, I'll like go to like start drawing on the board and be like, oh my god, I'm like going insane. Like it's so hard to play without the arrows now. It helps to visualize things.
I mean, I just need like little notes or memos or something so that so I can see what the board is before lining up my kill shot. Because I think at this point, I do trust my instinct. If I make my moves, I look at my board state, and is my gut telling me that this is a good idea or not? If my gut is dreading the dice rolls, there's probably something wrong with my positioning. But it's pretty hard to just imagine that without some sort of visual indicator, as at least for me. So, I mean, one of these days of these days we'll play each other on stream and you can just laugh at like my need to literally plow through every conceivable option.
No, it's so hard. I feel like I'm also a very like visual thinker for like positioning. So like it needs to click visually, and sometimes like the biggest problem, or one of the biggest problems I'd have when I first started playing that still persists to this day is like I imagine the board as what it's going to look like during the attack phase, but then sometimes I don't quite make the leap of what the board's going to look like after I destroy the enemy units.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, I did just destroy that gate that my 1 health summoner was hiding behind. That was a mistake. Or
Oh my
like,
no, I did that. I did that when practicing Wayfarers versus Savannah Elves with Worf, who's kind of really new and kicking my butt. Like we've been splitting these games, but I just left this diagonal line open for slip by because I killed a unit. And I just didn't see that while I was lining up my attacks. I thought, okay, everything is square, everything is orthogonal to everything else. You know, Celeste down at 2 or 3 health or whatever isn't going to get my 2 health Abua. And then I get that message on Discord, GG. Like, crap. Like, what did I do?
yeah, yeah, it's always tough, like just to, because I feel like after playing enough games, like you develop that like visual intuition for like what is good and what is bad, like even if like you don't have like the logical justification for it, like things
Yes.
like I find myself just instinctively blocking like 10 health gates or just any gate with like a unit or something, just like you just develop that instinct that that's good. But like if I'm not quite thinking about like what the board state is actually going to be at the end of the turn, I might make a pretty obvious mistake.
No, that was what I did in that Wayfarers game. Like, I looked at my board as I was lining up attacks and was like, okay, no diagonal openings. You know, we're good. And then I killed a unit and left a diagonal opening, and I was not so good. All right, so what do you think Baggins has in his opening hand? Like, what is causing this level of analysis
Double
paralysis?
demand, double stim shrooms, double. I don't know. He's got 5
He's
events.
got, yes, and Monstro. Double release spores, double demand, and monstrosity. Okay, that was too easy.
I mean, it's really not that hard to think of bad starting hands with cool deck. There's a lot of cards like that just like more than other factions. Cool deck really needs to like get the juices running. Like if you don't discard heavy to like have the magic to stay on the board, you'll start to like, if you fall behind as cool deck, that's like 10 times worse than falling behind as any other faction, because you're only gonna win if you're like super ahead on board. And so you really just you really want to like be discarding heavy and have that momentum, but then it's like demand is so good. How do I discard it?
Oh, okay. I'm just doing this mental technical check. Let's see what's going on. Oh no. Okay, so there is confusion. Baggins thought he was supposed to join the call. Okay, so we are. This is a human confusion moment. All right. So this is not undo. Ben is going to straighten things out with Baggins. I think he was just confused about taking his turn, and we had a little bit of confusion in the Discord chat as well. So undo everything we said about this potential double demand hand. Okay, we are live. Poor Ciabatta's also just been sitting there waiting. All right, we have a game, people. We have a beast that's going to go 3-on-3 on that shaman, and the mage that's going to 1-turn kill the Vinemancer, and it is all going to be good.
Easy. And then the carrier. Oh, maybe you wanted Cool Duck to kill that carrier first. It didn't matter. uh Baggins offered if they wanted to restart to get the full timer, and they're like, "Now play fast." That's the spirit. That's the Scuffle spirit we love. Okay, loud noise is all the
Baggins spirit. Had I been thinking, I would have known that he is one of the last people on Earth to just sit there analyzing a 10-minute opening.
Yes,
I think
he's
we misunderstood because when we checked in Discord, hey, everything okay? Yep, everything's great. And we were expecting him to take the turn, and he was expecting to join the call.
he's
All
just
right.
testing us to see what our commentary chops are like, whether or not we can fill the space for 5 minutes or not.
All right. We have a game to watch, and they're meeting in the middle.
That's
There is definitely no turtling going on. And the Bog Shaman's attacking, and sometimes you have to. Like, sometimes there just isn't anything other than, a 3 health, 2 attack unit to just hopefully tank 1 hit and survive and put out a little bit of damage. Same thing with the Witch. It's not your preferred attack unit, but on turn 1 with the draw you got, it's what you got.
That's interesting because there's a downside to putting like something like the witch just like in a line of fire where it's can easily be killed and infected, but then I guess the upside is saying, well, Baggins only has 2 magic, so there's not going to be a second beast, so might as well just get this out there and get the value and just
The beasts
beat
can
Fungal
only
Dwarves.
infect 1 unit.
Unless we got a demand.
Well, we just have to unwind everything we thought about what would cause our analysis paralysis when playing Fungal Dwarves and remind ourselves that we are clearly not Baggins.
Only it's what when I did a 45-minute game of Fungal Dwarfs against Aaron, he was like, "You're crazy to play Fungal Dwarfs on a 45-minute clock." But Baggins is not afraid. Baggins will do it all.
Okay, and Koldak's ability, based on his starting setup, to put up an early gate or a forward gate is definitely, I don't want to say it's underrated, but it's not one of the things you think of when you think of this faction necessarily.
For sure, and I'll point. So we did get the 2 attacks that we were. The beast
That I
did attack
claimed.
twice. You said it couldn't happen, and it happened. Oh, are we even gonna get some attacks on Muglug right now?
We popped off the mud dredger.
Oh, I see. Did we not have one more attack there? Wait a second.
That's true. We had the demand, and that was the extra attack. What did we miss?
I think I think there was one more fungal beast targeted bog witch, fungal beast targeting barg shaman. Yeah, so I think there could have been one more attack of another carry on mug. Like I'm guessing Baggins is just playing fast, trying to keep with the timer and miss that.
I'll have to ask him. But this saying earlier about neither faction really being able to, or both factions needing a little bit of draw luck to just explode out of the gate like Fungal Dwarves just did. Now we're kind of back to rooting for Ciabatta to have something other, something up his sleeve other than, I have 1/3 of the board at most to work with, and my units are just going to die. My units are going to die before I can grow the swamp.
Yeah, for sure. Like the fungal dwarves getting that gate in there is just that is what we want. Suddenly we can reinforce the mid board. Um, And yeah, and I think like for all that I hear people talking about, ooh, this matchup is tough for fungal dwarves. Like going when fungal dwarves have a mid board established, I am always scared. Like I would be scared to be swamp orcs here for sure. Looks like yeah. So a bit. I like where these units are on Muglug's side. I like the 2 gates as well. That's always really nice. I like that these 2 units are sort of out of infect range. Like, you don't really want to send a beast to go kill this witch, because then it's, like, out of range of Cooldak. Probably. Unless Cooldak goes 2 spaces forward. But so, like, keeping units to just not be easy food for beasts. is
Or
nice.
Koldak to have to make tough choices. If do I chase after this witch or do I maintain my diamond?
And first attack, 2 for 2, easy. Can we get another one of those? Wait, no, I should be rooting for Fungal Dwarves here. Miss. One of these beasts is gonna erupt. I wonder if that's the sort of thing that
I wonder if that's the thought process of
Oof.
which one. It's
sorry. Go ahead.
no, just which one do I leave alive? Like playing against fungal dwarves is exhausting too.
Yeah, because the odds of like more than likely one of those 2 for 2s was gonna miss, but it sure didn't. So now Fungal Dwarf's got a beast, and yeah, that probably is the best spot for the beast to be, like, because now all it can do is attack Mugglug. Unless we got stim shrooms on it, like I kind of like Cool Dot going 2 spaces forward here. It feels like Mugglug has this good zone now behind these 2 gates to sort of set up a swamp, and just sending Cool Dot in there seems pretty good. Do we have release the spores? I'm guessing there's no way we're not. I'm sure we would. Oh, another gate. Okay, that works too.
Oh, this is fun.
For sure, for sure. I worry. Oh, let's see the attacks here.
I think
And
this
we
is
hit it.
what you do as Koldak when you know that this matchup doesn't necessarily favor him. Is you go all in.
And we hit it again. How about for the Vine Gate? And we got it. That's huge. Vine Gates can be such an asset. And suddenly it's gone. And Muglug doesn't have a swamp, and that's like the one time where Muglug's not doing anything. This gate here is interesting. I personally like a gate blocking the opponent's 10 health gate feels great, but with Cooldock, I worry because like if Muglug tries to set up on this right side of the board here, it takes Cooldock a lot of moves to get over here. So I wonder if Muglug's going to be able to use this 5 health gate against Cooldock by just staying as far away from Cooldock as possible for as long as possible. But we'll see. Without any units on the board, we're definitely in panic territory with Muglug right now.
Losing the Vine Gate really hurts.
Yeah.
I feel like that tends to be where I by default put Vine Gates, and it's for reasons of keeping it safe, which, I think Baggins was smart to just gun for that thing and go for the 3 for 3. It's almost sad that thing doesn't get infected and replaced with a carrier.
Oh, that would be mean. I feel like if we had like Vexer on or like players that are very cautious and thinking through the risk management of every play, it's like that's a lot of resources to be putting on a 57% chance to hit. Like it's only a little bit better than a coin flip for this beast to be killing that gate. Is it really worth it? But it really but maybe you would be afraid of doing that and not go for it when now it's just a massive payoff for Baggins.
Vexer would go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're just digressing into like what would Vexer do? But I think Vexer, when he decides to throw Econ to the winds and go aggro, like he will go all in aggro.
Gotcha.
But that said, if I knew what Vexer would do, then I would just be the champ and it would be easy.
That's if only.
But if I am Swampworks, though, that Vine Gate, losing that Vine Gate hurts because so much of their game revolves around boosts, and it's I think a lot of us, I don't want to say underrated Vine Gates, but definitely used them in a more disposable way in the early days of just exploring Swampworks. It felt like a Skyscare Avian's Airy Gate. Like that. You just sort of plunk that thing down. It defends Ava for a turn. Maybe you get a unit out of it, and you think it. But they're cheap.
Yeah.
Whereas Vine Gates, I mean, to me as a Swampworks player, they're precious.
They're good. You get a lot of boosts out of them. Like 1 boost a unit is no joke.
And now I'm crying over spilled milk, but it's understandable. This game, like Ciabatta, obviously has he has units that he can summon. We've seen a couple different incarnations of them now, but now it's kind of this juggling act between I need to kill units and I need to grow the swamp. And this gate formation from the fungal dwarves perspective is interesting just because you don't see it that often, but it does give Koldak some time to, do the mushroom army thing of just like piling up and accumulating boosts. It's not a lot of room to work with, and it's so weird looking that my fungal dwarf brain doesn't really compute, but it's not terrible to have that little fort.
Yeah. And we got some attacks. Should be some easy kills here. Shouldn't have an issue, but you never know. Attacking with the Vinemancer first, probably to see whether we want to spend a boost. We definitely do. Not going to leave that to a 3 for 3. We're going to spend 2 boosts. Not going to leave that to a 4 for 3 either. All right, I respect it. Spending that boost a little bit rough that Mugluck exposed, but like not really at all. Something I would have thought about
like,
there.
Everyone's a little bit afraid to attack Muglug. Like,
Yeah.
There's, are they hanging on to regenerate? But this is tough because Muglug's a little bit boost starved right now, and
sure.
whatever she uses to potentially regenerate is a boost that's not being used for an attack. So if I'm fungal dwarves, I am not as afraid of regenerate as I might normally be.
Oh, and the attacks. Oh, gotten a 1 for 3. All right, you think we'll go for it again? The next 3 for 3. Will we get it this time? We will. Wow. Baggins knows where it's at, and might as well.
Interesting.
Hit that
Just
big
take
gate
down that gate.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's kind of committed to having to take down that big gate eventually. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know how. I don't know how you progress the game without getting rid of that thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, which just like instinctively to me, I'm like, oh god, that does not feel like a good positioning. Like that does not, because getting through that gate to have to progress things doesn't feel good, and it doesn't feel good that it doesn't feel like Kuldak can really reinforce both of the ways we can attack. Like we've got to have some of our units outside of our boundary. Something I didn't mention a few turns ago, but like back when it was just like one carrier where like the beast is like over here now, like I was thinking probably what I would have done would be just to like move Muglug either 1 space or even 2 spaces forward and just park her in front of everything going on up here. And that could totally be wrong for a number of reasons. But I would rather meet, like, because the biggest pressure was coming from over here, and I suppose now it's sort of shifted. now it's coming from multiple sides. But it's just nice to not have units that the beast can be infecting. Over
the weakness when
outside.
Muglug is this hemmed in is she just doesn't have units other than herself that are sturdy enough to be a sure bet. Such a weird board state. Like my brain does not compute. I love it, but it's not what you normally expect to see. And it is what I was kind of hoping for. I was hoping for a fungal dwarves rush. I was not expecting this much of a rush. I wasn't expecting them to seek the horizon.
We just have Senna or Cheras in chat is saying Baggins is a god gamer, that they did not realize that Baggins is playing against Cheras at the same time that he's playing this game. So Baggins has clicked off of this game to do another game in open queue or something. Just going for it. All right, and we had a bunch of attacks there. Okay, I feel bad. Did we get some 2 for 2s with those shamans? I should have been watching. Let me see again. Yep, both of those were 2 for 2s on those 2 carriers. That's really nice. But we didn't kill the beast. But that's at least nice. And how many dice did Muglug roll there? 1, 2, 3. Wow, I really should have been paying attention here. Okay, let's just watch that again. Muglug rolled 5 dice, 2 misses. Okay, that is brutal. So we almost had the full clear. But hopefully this is fine. Surely that beast will like miss on the Bog Shaman or something, and then everything will be fine, right?
You just said everything will be fine in the same sentence as Swamp Orcs versus Fungal Dwarves.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried. If both of these beasts go 3 for 3,
Oh my goodness. And okay, now he's committed our guest to battering down that gate.
that's
Maybe not.
yes, that's gates are hard. Like it's so hard to do the aggressive gate while also not blocking your summoner, and like there's so many things, and it feels like to get all this pressure had to block ourselves off. That's the first 3 for 3.
Okay.
If we have one more, then this game is just going out of control. Okay, we've missed one. Goodness. What do you think? How are you feeling as Swamp Orcs right now? You feeling like this is recoverable? You're feeling like this is game over? Where in between?
Let's see what emerges.
All right.
I will say this. I'm looking for light at the end of the tunnel, which is that Kuldak's not playing his normal formation game. Like, Kuldak is
Yes.
not going to win this on Econ.
Yes.
Like, Kuldak is not going to win on Fungal Dwarves Econ. So this is almost like playing Cave Goblins. We're playing against the rush. But if we survive the rush, then there's all these factors working against the sort of the Fungal Dwarves end game.
Yeah, like if we can just, I almost feel like as Muglug, there's like somewhat of a sigh of relief of like if we can just like hang on, we're in a decent spot. And I know that sounds kind of crazy looking at how hemmed against the wall we are, but both these 2 units will die this turn, and then really the only threat is coming down this lane, which like just one lane in which we're getting overwhelmed doesn't feel like too much. So call me crazy, I might rather be Swamp Orcs on this board. And you can hold me to that in 3 turns from now when it's abysmal
Calling you
for them.
crazy. I'm not calling you crazy because Mug is hard to assassinate. And this gate placement is just so janky and weird.
Yeah. But maybe Kuldak could regroup. Like maybe after these units kind of peter out, Kuldak can just be like, all right, like I don't have a whole fungus growing, but you don't really have a swamp either. So like just gonna move back to the mid board and let's just start over. Let's start a new leaf here.
That kind of sums it up. Oh, that's kind of painful using 5 health blub on a 2 life unit, or sorry, 5 attack blub on a 2 life unit. Like I want blub on that beast over to the left there.
Yeah. So could it fit? No, it couldn't fit, unfortunately.
No.
But it's nice to have
I didn't
Muglug.
say I could get what I wanted. I just said where I would teleport my units to if I could get what I wanted.
Those are the worst turns, which is like it's so close to being a really good turn. If just like I could just like move this a little bit if like you look the other way.
Oh my god. These are the turns where essentially my son just like picks up the piece and moves it to where he wants it.
Yeah. Oh, Splack.
Ooh.
Interesting. Very
Do
interesting.
we have 4? Yeah, and can we get 4 meaningful attacks off?
I wonder, okay, is the point here to get... Oh, no, I think I like this. Well, okay, so if we did that play, if we had the Witch and Splack, now we can get to 2 boosts on Muglug, which means 5 attacks. We at least have a chance of killing that beast, which is kind of cool. And also, I really prefer parking Muglug in front of that beast. because it's just
Yes.
like, I don't know, I don't want to let any more infects happen. And now because Splat gets the extra attack, we now have 4 range dice on this carrier instead of just the 2 from the Bog Shaman. Um, so I think I prefer that play, even though even though Blub is a lot cooler. Um, and Splack is kind of in the middle of nowhere over there. I don't know.
Black, I just find good, but so hard to use in Swamp Works when I really want that extra attack, and I don't have any other 2 good units to attack with. Ooh, Blurb, we're
We're
just
going through all the options here.
Ciabatta is a man after my own heart. This is exactly what I would look like.
That's all of them. In person, you'd be
I
reshuffling your deck every time you
I
did
I
this.
like Glurp. I'm saying this instinctively without actually having thought through all the possibilities, but I kind of want that Vine Gate, and a lot of times Glurp feels a little bit like a trap, like a Vine Gate ends up somewhere suboptimal.
Oh,
But I don't know if I want the Vine Gate there. I kind of want it where the carrier is, but I definitely want it.
hmm.
I'll take either of those.
Yeah, the Vine Gate
Okay,
is
so
nice. I feel like I'm on Team Splack still, just because that means we get to like guarantee kill this carrier. Um, but yeah. I wonder if we're not even gonna be parking Mug in front of the beast, if we're just gonna be sitting there with the
on
Bard
Team
Shaman.
Park, I am very Team Park Mug in front of the Beast, but I will say that when I'm commentating, I'm definitely not seeing everything. I'm definitely going by instinct more than when I'm playing and just sitting there shuffling through all the possibilities.
For sure. I
I mean,
am never seeing everything.
my instinct though, is that if Baggins has to summon beasts from that spot instead of getting them created organically, then that's a losing economic proposition.
Yeah, yeah. So it seems like we're prioritizing getting the Vine Gate out, then parking Mug in front of the beast. I mean, at least we're killing the carrier. I really just don't like this infect because just my it's like, oh no, infects, blah. But like,
But like Kaldak can't get that carrier to his diamond even if he wants it there.
yeah. So maybe it's not really that big of an issue. Yeah, it doesn't
Not that
really feel.
hard to
Yeah.
tolerate a carrier that's going to be meaningless.
Mhm.
Tolerate a carrier that's going to be easy magic, and the beast gets softened up a little bit. I definitely like the Vine Gate more than I'll nitpick about whether Mug should have been a body shield for the beast. Like, I definitely see the argument for just go ahead, create a meaningless carrier. I dare you.
Yeah, like I really don't feel like any threat can be coming out of this gate up top. Like, and maybe I mean beast infects can be crazy, so maybe I'm wrong, but like it just doesn't feel like a single row of beasts infecting. It feels like Muglug will be able to deal with that, and even if we're not able to deal with it right now, um, because we're getting another infect, it feels like eventually.
Yeah, and we saw that regenerate, so that we know Mug can withstand a carrier attack easily. Mug probably, honestly, Mug probably wants that stupid carrier attack just so she can get the regenerate out of her hand. Like, just hit me with something. Hit me with something so I don't have to deal with hand clog.
That's funny. This release spores is also very funny because like what's Redacted's plan? I guess the plan is the plan really just like, no, this gate's gonna come down and then we're gonna plow through. I guess that makes
I think
sense.
it has to be.
Yeah,
I called it like a
you sure
gazillion
did.
turns ago. What do you do other than just mow down the gate through sheer force of will?
Yeah, and I think that's why I've been so like, oh god, I don't like this position as cool deck because I just like I don't see getting through this massive gate as an option. But I mean, yeah, it totally is. It's only Baggins in our chat is saying, "Damn, what's that gate made of?" And yeah, it sure has withstood quite a few hits. Has that been 2 full cool deck attacks? I've only done 4 damage.
Yes.
That's something.
I mean, Koldak is a royal warrior, and royal warriors chew through sand goblin mega gates. So what's Koldak missing? Shibata's answer to, damn, what's that gate made of? Vine.
I wonder where is Glurp going at this point? This is just so I love live games.
This.
Yeah.
I really like this because you really don't see Glurp shine all that often. But this was, regardless of like where Glurp's going now, which I don't know either, this was kind of a Glurp saves the day moment as far as I'm concerned. This was a let's get our swamp back in order. Now we're probably slowing down a little bit. Now it's
Yeah.
I mean, I like Muglug's positioning now to grow the swamp back better than I like Koldak's positioning to try and get some sort of fungal engine going.
Yeah, yeah.
Love the commitment though of just like, plan A is to get through that 10 life gate.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you get through it is going to be hell to pay. I mean, is there even that, like, in what world do these carriers behind Cooldock do anything though? Like, just like how? Because Cooldock, I feel like because they can't move through Cooldock, so like how how do we get them? How do we get them in the game?
Don't you
Well,
ever just get factions confused in your head and just like want that carrier to be like a bug biter or something? Actually, now the bug biter move is being blocked off, at least momentarily. Like my bug biter line, just as I was envisioning it, Ciabatta moved that bog shaman in the way, and now there's that opening, but the bug biter thing was an illusion anyway because this is not sand goblins.
it's funny how like your brain just thinks about that. Just like you think about the bug biter ranges of the within 3 of a gate. All right, we got some attacks. Oh, we got the witch to get a double attack on that beast. That's pretty nice. Now something new can come out of that gate, but oh my goodness, Baggins has 7 magic. When did that happen? So I guess something big can come out of that gate. We'll have to see. Beast going down too.
Yeah, it's not like you can send Monstro out that gate, though.
No, and like Thune, as I've learned recently, you can't demand on champions. So that's not happening.
No, I wonder if Ciabatta was actually setting up that double Muglug kill while we were second guessing whether Mug should just take the body blow for
I would not be
the
surprised.
5 health beast.
And all the units coming down. Okay, can we fully boost Thune? We sure are. I'm expecting all 6 of those coming right off cool deck. Yep. And one shot Glurp. I mean, that's a pretty big value swing in Fungal's favor.
That is.
Wow.
How did we miss that?
Thune just like the star of the show all of a sudden. I mean, this is a pretty exposed spot for Glurp, no matter what. Like any sort of like demand on like a mage or something is also gonna make him feel not so great. Maybe we'll miss big. Oh nope, and we get it just barely. If that was alive at 1, that could make a pretty big difference. All right, Gates got probably 1 more turn. Probably. Dude, sounds pretty good here. Maybe not. I guess Muglug could kill him, but normally we don't see Thune very much. Kind of the doesn't shine too bright in the fungal dwarves, but glad to. It's a game of surprises.
Oh, this is already whatever the outcome turns out to be. This is already just that I don't know. It just captures that Summoner Wars magic of when you think you've dialed in the factions, just someone does something completely different, or the game takes a completely different shape than when I play them.
I especially love like the live game format because I feel like when you just don't have time to think through every move, and also you'll just like get tunnel vision and just like miss something, like you'll just end up playing in ways that you probably wouldn't have if you had 30 minutes for every turn, and that's fun. It's fun seeing what sort of games that leads to.
Oh my gosh. I mean, definitely pressure and constraints increase creativity by a lot.
Oh goodness.
I mean, I was thinking of that when I was reading the chat when people were arguing about, like whether theme is important. And, it's clearly important for the design team.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a blank slate, but when you have this thing you're constrained to, like the build symbols, then you just come up with this stuff that even the anti-theme person can enjoy because it's such good gameplay. And I love that we had that conversation about the theme scaffolding. Like asking Nick, what comes first, theme or mechanics?
Uh-huh.
And I just find it fascinating that even when themes come first, you emerge with the mechanics that please the mechanics person.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And in this case, I'm cycling back to I really do think live play just gets creative juices going. What am I doing on the board? And, just kind of the same way thematic constraints, make you be creative about mechanics. It's kind of an extended metaphor. But, I think a lot of us, like we game, but it's also a creative outlet. Like doing these scuffles is a creative outlet.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Is just is every game its own art form, or sort of like thinking about like what I'm doing when I'm playing Summoner Wars, of like I'm enjoying like refining the skill of like playing a faction, like that kind of, I don't know, that's, I suppose that's like creative in the same way of like playing a football game is creative, or like how, yeah.
Performance art creative.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely the scuffle, it's obviously a little bit of improv. Like literally it pushes the improv buttons. But even like in game, just doing something different with the cards, like doing something that's off meta or economically inefficient or just not your first choice, but this is what your hand is, this is what the board
Yeah.
state is,
Yeah.
maybe sometimes a little bit of this is what the, who the opponent is.
Yeah.
Although this is a long think time turn.
For sure. I mean, like so much like rides rides on the balance here, especially with Muglug, of just like the summoner of like if you expose a unit with too much health, like if it's just one space more where it shouldn't be, it's dead. And a 6 cost champion dying in one turn is a massive swing in a game.
Yes.
That can just be game winning. And so like just trying to like bait out Thune, like I saw before Ciabatta had a play where Bog Shaman was one space forward and it looks like it would be pulled back by a Vine Mancer, unless I just imagine that entirely, because now I'm seeing there's no Vine Mancer. Um, okay, no, there it is.
Yeah, the Vine Mancer's been kind of appearing and disappearing, I think. No, because you don't like you. I mean, you hate losing those 3 life units. Like I think a lot of Swamp Works revolves around positioning to make those 3 life units last 2 turns. And it's why I like this faction is because it's much more, kind of positioning and econ than just, Muglug chucks a million dice. But
Interesting.
if I'm in, if I'm in this position, I'm just like I'm gonna lose a 3 life unit in one go.
Yeah.
And I am not happy about that at all.
I suppose
Because I don't
this. Yeah,
I,
go ahead.
I don't think I've seen a configuration where someone doesn't just, take a bullet from Thune.
Yeah, I mean, the first configuration we have, I mean, I think they're preferring this configuration because now the Vine Mancer gets to take the Shaman out. But if we just didn't
Well,
have...
also that bind gate's protected.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I suppose I'm not thinking about that. It would be sort of nice. Yeah, go ahead.
And all Mug's doing is attacking a carrier.
Yep, I mean, it's getting the work done. But now Thune is able to
and
just...
Koldak is now in position that carrier... Oh, no, it was the other carrier one step up that was irrelevant to the diamond.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if I would have just let that carrier live. And just... maybe he wants the magic. Or we're going to see blub.
There's a world. I mean, I feel like the units are just being poured into the meat grinder up there, and so maybe Ciabatta's just encouraging that.
I want blub. I want that magic to have served a nobler purpose, and that purpose being to summon blub.
You might get your wish. Blub seems pretty good in this matchup.
I mean, we're getting near the bottom of the Swamp Orcs deck.
That's true. How'd that happen so fast? Yeah, I guess all of a sudden this is like end game now. Huh.
Deck out painfully. Like someone like Sarah can have, like just look like they're running out of cards fast. And, obviously we're just going to use her ability to just create that bottomless pile of knights. But Swamp Orcs, you look like you're doing okay, and then suddenly you're just out of cards.
Yeah, it feels tough with the econ of like managing, okay, like how many champs do you play in a game? Do you play 3? Do you play 4? Do you play 5? Probably not. But like, do you want to save one in hand? I've definitely not gotten to that level. But yeah, so because we had that Vinemancer here, Thune is able to just get a safe attack from behind cover. It's a little unfortunate, and another attack on Mug. I mean, just killing the Drudger. I mean, that's probably pretty good for Baggins, honestly. Just like a 1 damage attack killing a Drudger. I'll take that any day.
Absolutely. Yeah, this just feels like bottom of the deck. What do I do now?
Yeah, hopefully we got... I mean, I'm sure we've got another Emerge. Surely. I mean, like, maybe we discarded it with, like, in a panic in the beginning, but I think it's a good chance we've still got it. And yeah, just punching these units. I mean, I suppose it's nice to, like, just be... If we're gonna throw our units into a fire, it's best to do that when there's no beasts on the board. I still kind of would prefer forcing Thune to have to move out to, like, be used. And put him on a clock, but maybe I'm missing something there. It was just like we like Mugleg needs to be proactive. We shouldn't just be sitting and not doing anything.
Mugleg just kind of sitting there taking out carriers is where you, the Fungal Dwarves player, wants her. Like, you want her attacking those low life, kind of irrelevant units. Like, maybe he just doesn't want her to, like, be knocking down that gate. I'm not actually sure why. Or maybe just put her in the position of, like, okay, do you want to take chip damage, or do you want to feed my beast factory?
Usually, I hadn't even considered that Cooldock did not attack the gate last turn. We let it be.
That actually is significant.
Maybe we're waiting for second and release the spores. I'd have to, or maybe just the 3 attacks were good enough. It's the sort of thing where it's like you bring an enemy, or like anytime I bring an enemy's gate close to the point where I can actually kill it, is the point where I'm like, wait, but if I kill that, I have to spend a whole attack killing it, and then also they get to counterattack me, and so wait, I actually don't want to do that. And then I'm like, wait, so maybe I shouldn't have been damaging this gate in the first place. Though as you've been saying, it absolutely seems good here to have Cooldock through that line. But just like the moment of when do I actually bring down the enemy gate is always tough. And we have the line. We have the line of 3 gates as Swamp Orcs. That's pretty nice. I think I'm a fan.
It's pretty nice if you have a plan other than just turtle and make the inevitable death slower. It's a little bit of a Starve the Beasts play that never works great for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that the cooldown takes a turn to kill these gates, and then we like one-shot Thune with Blub or something. Like, I'm hoping a turn is all we need to like get some momentum back as Swamp Orcs.
Awkward to get Blub into one-shot range. Actually, you can't. I mean, Thune has 6 life.
But with a witch, maybe?
That. Imagine that.
And so the
Possible and movement-wise.
Or I suppose just
God,
where
that's
we have,
annoying.
yeah.
Or no, if you summon out of that vine gate,
Oh,
of
yeah,
course it is.
yeah.
I'm like staring at the back gate and then like, wait,
I
why?
see. Yes, you're thinking about coming around.
Well, I was thinking from the moment before that gate was destroyed, leaving a blank hole on the screen, you know, where a unit could be summoned.
What we were talking about
back for a previous conversation.
It all comes back. Yeah, but I mean, Muglug can probably kill Thune. That's good. I mean, we're probably a little bit scared as to like what the consequences of our actions are going to be.
Oh, that's so annoying that like, oh wait, no, there's Vine-Mancers. There's probably some way to pull the witch to.
And
Okay.
I'll point out real heel
all
again that Cooldock only did 2 attacks that turn. So once again, we could have attacked that gate, and we didn't.
Say at this point, Baggins probably feels enough ahead that he doesn't need any kind of desperation charge. Like, why expose Koldak when you've got Thune over on that other flank?
Yeah, I feel like
doing Thune things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I was Baggins right now, I would want to just prolong the game as long as possible and like hope that we can just get some fungal engine churning and that will lead to Monstro or something that we'll be able to econ here.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of times in this game, whoever's feeling more behind starts, you know, making, you know, taking initiative. Like,
Yeah.
I need to make something happen.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know, I need to break down that gate with Muglug.
Yeah.
You know, oh my god, I'm rooting for like Mug versus Koldak, like no holds barred.
I could see it. I could see this game going all the way. Oh, we got your. There was a mental block, and I did not see that Blub was over there. Whoa.
Huh. I know. It's just the minute Blub appeared, I took him for granted and moved on to like, is Mug gonna kill the gate? Is Mug gonna kill the gate? Are we gonna have Mug on Koldak?
Yeah, that's really fun. When I saw that board, I don't know like if it would have been possible. Maybe I'll click back to what it looked like. But like I was thinking we could have some sort of Mug like one shots Thune, and then like we just summon a unit where Mug is right now. Dude.
I don't know how many times I've forgotten that Blub gets that one move out the gate.
It's deadly.
And it's
and then you summon a witch right behind it, and that is 10 dice if you got a so as well. It's the sort of thing where it's just like just the fact that it is in the deck means you are always playing around it because you cannot take 10 dice to the face no matter what summoner you're playing.
Problem is I kind of see Blub as probably Swamp Orc's last gasp. Like, they don't have much of an end game once, you know, those champs are out. And I mean, Ciabatta does have enough magic to summon Splack, almost enough magic to just summon Splack organically, but that would have been a long time to hold on to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, even though we get the excitement of oh, what did you just do, Baggins? Oh, okay, thank you. Like, well, I wasn't paying attention. Did you just commit suicide? No, you're smarter than that.
I wonder if there's still like we could still maybe pull Mug forward and attack Cooldock.
Oh, Oh, I guess that was, he was probably holding off destroying the gate until he had
until
released
release the
spores.
spores. Yeah, yeah. It's smart.
Why didn't
Which
we
it must
think
have
of
been.
that?
Did I say that in my mind and not out loud? Because I
You
recall
did. You did.
I did not say that. Okay.
You did not say it out loud.
Well, I just want everyone to know that I am smart. Okay. Like totally thought of that.
I just want everyone to know I didn't.
Well, it seemed maybe because it seemed like kind of unlikely with like bottom 7 cards being because I think at the time that I was thinking of it, I saw only 2 cards in deck, and we only have drawn like 1 more card, and I guess that was it. Or maybe we had it in hand and we were waiting. I don't know.
I think it's that crazy for it to be bottom decked.
Yeah.
I mean, he got the other one earlier.
It's definitely a card that you're.
You asked what's going to happen with those carriers from release spores. I think those were the 2 that turned into beasts, right?
Yep, and they exist. I mean, this beast looks like it's gonna slowly wither and die. Well, maybe not. Maybe this beast is becoming Monstro, actually. Maybe that's possible.
I just want Monstro to make an appearance for the sake of Monstro making an appearance, even though that would just make the game more lopsided.
We'll see. It's not guaranteed with what we're seeing right now.
That Monstro emerges, or that the game is kind of tilting Fungal Dwarves?
That Monstro emerges is what I'm like. I don't see quite enough boost to be like 100% Monstro is happening like it is in some games.
I agree.
But
I agree with that.
You never doubt the Monstro.
I'm just rooting for Monstro and Splack to make an appearance for the sake of an exciting game where we get to see all these different components of the deck. We haven't seen Mulder.
That's true. I feel like you would. Baggins has so much magic. Like, what combination of 6 cards could you not play with 7 magic at this point? Seems like you're getting them all out. It's funny. I really want to just like kill the carrier with the Vinemancer and just pull Mug forward, and just like take a shot at Cooldock. What gets
Where
me
could
to
he go? Well, I guess put a beast in his face. But yeah, and Ciabatta clearly doesn't think we're at that point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm going to trust that he has something cooking other than that really risky, crazy, near suicide rush. Although with Muglug, it's really never suicide. Muglug and a witch.
Yeah. I mean, if Muglug was planted in front of Cooldock, I mean, I feel like Cooldock would probably have to retreat because we would lose that. Like, Cooldock would rather put a unit in front. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he can put a unit in front easily and a unit in some L-shaped direction. So then, if Cooldock retreats south, then Muglug isn't going to get another attack from 2 spaces away.
Yeah. We will.
And that witch is exposed. I feel like that witch is kind of Swampworks' last hope.
Yeah, we do not want that to go down.
I forgot Vinemancer can pull. Okay.
Vinemancer's good, though I guess the 3 for 3 on that Vinemancer would feel extra bad because of that. And maybe Maldar's in the top corner. That's so funny. Yeah, I think I'm always really bad at like recognizing when it's too late. Like I'm always just like, no, we can keep plowing through this game. We got a chance. Usually everyone else is better than me at being like, no, this is looking like really bad. That's our last that witch is our last hope.
No, I almost never forfeit like that sort of is it over type game.
Yeah.
Like I end up hoping for dice or something. Ugh.
And we get it. That's gonna be rough. And so I'm like a few turns behind you. I now look at this and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's over. You never know. We got 4 cards. Maybe make something happen.
Yeah, I want to see Black make an appearance just for the sake of seeing him. But I don't know. I feel like reading the econ of Swampworks is if you're not like at that point where I started kind of freaking out over econ, I just feel like unless you've got, you know, two emerges, two champs, or something ridiculous, the swamp starts to die. Like you kind of read the death knells earlier, just because once you've used up your big shots, like the whole thing kind of falls apart. Unless there's a flourishing swamp, like a Vexer style swamp where the board is more swamp than like spaces.
Yeah.
Like there's just not time to regrow it.
I feel like what I was really hoping for was like something to like make Kulak have to reposition really, really awkwardly. Like if Mug was able to like sit in front of Kulak and also be safe and like get an attack of 5, and all of a sudden Kulak needs to spend all 3 moves just to like reposition in response to that. Like, and maybe we could like eke out some economic gain. But Kulak just sitting at a comfortable only 1 damage feels like we don't got much of a shot here.
I wonder if there's any earlier chance at a Hail Mary. Like Muglug destroys the gate herself and takes out Koldak. I feel like there was too much pressure this whole game to really go in that direction.
Yeah. And
of like, I'm just going to lead an aggro Muglug charge at Koldak out of desperation.
Yeah, and we had a unfortunate 1 for 3 on this Drudger on the Beast. So the Beast gets to live. Probably means another carrier, and it's not looking good.
Insult to injury at this point, where you just kind of at least want the dice to give you a good showing, and like even they're tired, like even they've given up. Yeah, blocking the gate.
I suppose this Beast is gonna die in front of this gate. I mean, I guess that doesn't really mean much. Yeah, so just, I see. So not giving Muglug any gate spawns. Interesting. And going for the infect on Blub. That's pretty nice, but we're still kind of extended. Oh, and the Beast gets demand. So the Beast was gonna die anyway, so seems decent. And that is just like totally blocked.
Yes.
Wow. Like cave goblins, cave dwarves, fungal goblins. You called it right at the beginning.
Oh my god! You called it back right at the perfect time. This is such a cave goblins board.
It's just like, it's not what you'd expect. Like with Kuldak, you expect everything to be in that perfect diamond around him, and that has just not been the case for any part of this game whatsoever. It's just been, let's block gates, let's get in there, let's stop the pressure, let's not let the swamp exist at any point.
I don't think I've ever seen a Fungal Dwarves game look like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
and best play, drop a Vine Gate and concede. I agree.
Oh, I am down for that.
Good game. All right, so we will give a second and get them in chat here.
I think everyone needs a breather after that game. That was intense.
Yeah, that is. It's always.
That's just like curtain. It's like the screen goes black.
Yep.
Harkrada? No, not the first concede of the scuffle. I'm gonna remember this. Vexer versus Prophet. Vexer took his 40% kill shot and then immediately conceded.
Yes, I mean, I took like.
Hello, can you?
Yep, can hear you. Hey.
Hi, this is Ciabatta. Ryan.
Hey.
Hi. Yeah, that was not a good game for me whatsoever. I'm
It was
kind of embarrassed by that performance.
it was one heck of an entertaining game.
I'm glad we had that.
Games always, especially with the live games, like you never know what to expect, what's happening. It was a lot of fun. At the very beginning, we were like, "Wow, this feels like the fungal dwarves are going like cave goblins here," and it's
Yeah.
just all these units
Oh
everywhere.
yeah, yeah. I tried to rush forward because I think that if you lay back, Molov can just really kill enemies at like at least one base every turn, maybe two. So I've been in that position, so I try to rush forward as soon as possible, and also because if you can move as swamp orcs, you are not generating boost. So I was trying to cage him so he can generate less boost. But yeah, it was it was like a cosplaying of Wayfarers from my side.
I made one huge mistake in turn 4, which is I picked the wrong spore carrier to let become a fungal beast. I picked the one that was
Yeah.
3 spaces away from the common units to prevent any more of my common units becoming carriers. But with stim shrooms, that let you get to the vine gate, which I didn't expect you to have stim shrooms. And when you're able to destroy the vine gate with a 3 out of 3, that completely halted my momentum.
Ben and I did not have an obvious answer to which carrier you should let turn into a beast.
That's
Like, we
true.
were
Might have
kind
just
of
been with
special.
hindsight.
No, we were speculating among ourselves, and I think we just let you play it out, but we were not sitting there like, oh, he should have let that one live. Like, it was definitely not obvious.
Yeah, that makes
It was even hard for my part. I was not even sure which one I would have destroyed.
But yeah, stim shrooms was a difference maker.
I think I honestly would have done what you did.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying, like I would have been too afraid of the beast hitting the commons. I would have just been like, yeah, whatever.
The weird part was that I was not even expecting the carriers to die that turn. So
Yes.
it was like, what, another 2 out of 2?
Yes.
I did get lucky there. That was a mistake, and my second mistake was I held on to a vine gate, my second vine gate, for a long time, looking for a location to block you out when I should have just plopped it down in the bottom left corner, to give myself some spots to summon for a merge. Those are the two things that I was kicking myself about.
One thing I found funny is that we both summoned both the 2 champs that nobody plays in these decks, Glurp and Toon. It was very
We were
weird.
celebrating that.
Yeah, that's one thing I was happy I was able to do, because I was looking for a blood play, but I just couldn't get it. It just didn't make sense because he was exposed, and I was looking for, and the 5 damage wasn't doing anything. And then I started looking for a Splack play, but Splack was still in my deck. So I wanted to get a champ out of the discard, because that's one magic you're just giving out. And then I saw that if I got the Vine Gate, I'd be able to reestablish it with Glurp, even though he's mana inefficient. And I think it was the right call.
Oh yeah, I honestly think Glurp was an amazing choice. I just will not have put it in the front side of the gate. I will have put it in the back of the gate in a more defensive wave. So I will not be able to hit him.
I think that's where I was too. Like, kill the other carrier. But I was so happy Glurp came out. That definitely.
Oh yeah, I thought it was a brilliant choice in this case.
Thank you.
I love Glurp
My
so
thought
much.
process was, and this is where playing alive messes you up. I just defaulted to protect the Vine Gate. I was compensating for letting my first one go, and forgot that, as I realize now, if the Vine Gate gets destroyed, Glurp can just make another one because he has that ability.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll say this, I forgot too. I think Ben was getting stressed out about how exposed Glurp was, and, well, what's Glurp going to do next turn? And I was like, but Glurp's the hero. We're good. And then Thune comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saving on Thune just for that.
And you had that shaman and all those boosts on Koldak that we weren't really paying attention to because we were focused on, like on this champ roulette that like we were watching Ciabatta think your way through.
Yeah, I was. Well, I think the only shaman I summoned. I think maybe that's the problem I have with fungal dwarfs. It's that I only summon one shaman per game mostly. But yeah, I was trying to get him away from everything just so I could summon Toon and kill either Glur or Bloop or any champion that came in the first turn that it came out. I was just saving especially for that. Which is something I never do. I almost always discard Toon on Psych.
How
I like
end
Toon.
up
I
with
play
all that
Toon.
magic? We were, I think, watching other parts of the game, and then suddenly, like, wait a minute, why does Fungal Dwarves why is Fungal Dwarves perpetually sitting on a giant magic pile? Like, we actually just kind of missed that. Like, what were you doing?
I honestly never noticed that until the end. But I tried to have at least enough magic to summon one beast. But at the end, I was like, why do I have so much magic?
We had the magic for Thune.
I was eyeing the magic pile, but I was just like, that is a problem for 3 turns from now, Ryan. This turn, Ryan needs to deal with the fungal onslaught at his doorstep.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely rooting for a Fungal Dwarves rush. I didn't know if you would have, no one knows whether you would have had the hand for it, but I was kind of hoping for that to be, this exciting game to commentate. And also, I think maybe, one of the best ways to stop Swamp Works is just get in there before the swamp grows.
Oh, yeah.
But I was not expecting Seek the Horizon Cave Goblin Fungal Dwarf.
Yeah, it was like a kill box right at the end. Like Muggle was playing in only like 9 squares at the end.
Yeah.
Definitely
It was, I had my fort.
One thing I
to
regretted in my game was putting my gate in the last row. In your last row, because Kuldak was just stuck forever on that side of the map. When I put the gate, I thought it was a brilliant choice, but after like 5 turns stuck in the same position, I was like, no, never mind. I shouldn't have done that.
It did get you to a spot where you could put the carriers to attack me, and I'd either have to let you hit me or take them down and build up your boosts. So that was pretty nice. I was trying to line up a Bog Witch double attack turn across the gate that you had weakened, the 10 health gate, but you had used release spores and prevented that from occurring.
Oh yeah, I was trying to stop myself from destroying that game until I got spores in my hand, so to avoid something like that.
Because I think I would have got at least 12 dice on you if you'd done it a couple turns earlier.
Wow, yeah.
These psychic, they're just answering the questions that I don't even need to ask.
Yeah, I remember being like, I wonder when that gate's coming down and whatnot. Yeah. Well, thank you for answering.
Well, I was actually wondering, and you guys answered, was there a way for Muglug to have lined up a Bog Witch double attack and take down the gate and take down Koldak? And now I kind of see the answer was, well, yeah, I wanted to.
I wanted to. Baggins prevented it.
Yeah, I could see him destroying his own gate, but at the same time, I will not think it was a really great play because, well, that's like the gate I am trying to clock the most, and when you destroy it, I can just summon more beasts there and start destroying everything in the back. So yeah, unless I died in that very same turn, I think destroying his own game will not have been a good choice.
I can see that. I was just hitting an anxiety point towards maybe, like me. I think just I have a point where I feel like Swampworks is going to lose on Econ if they've reached, X amount of deck and nothing big is happening. There's a point where you can't really regenerate the swamp. Like, there's definitely a point of no return where if your swamp is not healthy, there's just not enough in the deck to just get any plan B going. I think that was when I was wondering, well, like, do you have a desperation attack? Do you have just some sort of Hail Mary? And I think that even that got shut down by
It did. A lot of it was the offensive pressure. I couldn't get the turn I needed to line up my units. Because if I had used a turn like that, the fungal beast would have just swarmed in, taken down all my low health commons before they were protected.
Oh,
And
I regret.
Wanna...
I regret destroying that game with Toon. By the way, that I think my like in the turn he died. When I rolled the 2 with the mage, my mind was telling me just stop, don't attack anything else. but I don't know. I was stronger than my brain and I just click attack.
Oh, I know that feeling.
And he died. So I was like, yeah, well, what was I expecting?
Yeah, for sure. Well, something I like to do, and I want to ask you guys before I forget, is I like to just hear about how everyone got started with Summoner Wars, how you started playing, and what interested you about the game. If you don't mind, I'm curious to ask you guys real quick. So maybe I could start with Mr. Baggins. How did you first start playing Summoner Wars?
Well, I watch. Well, I got into the hobby like 4 years ago, so it's not that long. But I don't know if everyone does this, but I started watching YouTube videos of top 10 board games of all time and all that stuff, no?
Yeah.
And I think it was Tom Basel and a lot of the Dice Tower that I always had Summoner Wars first edition on the top, but I never. When I look images of the game, it looked like a trading card game or a collectible. Yeah, like a trading card game, and I didn't want to get into another card game after Yu-Gi-Oh! It was a lot of money spent. But then when second edition came out and I watched the Shut Up and Sit Down review, and I understand that it was not really a collectible card game, I was like, oh, I can really get into that. And I tried it with what? With one friend. I tried it first in physical with one friend, and we both loved it. With my girlfriend also, but she didn't like it that much. She enjoyed it, but not really his taste of game. And then I got into online, and I was getting my ass kicked. So I stopped playing for a couple of months, honestly, after my first week trying to play. But then I decided to try again, and I really ended up loving the game.
I see.
I have no memory of my first week on the app.
Yeah, my first game ever was Vanguard versus Savannah Elves. Me as Vanguard going second, I got destroyed in like 5 turns, and I decided to nope, no, I will stay away from the online for now.
My first game online was against Maxima.
Mine too. Mine too. I'd probably played like
quite a way to start.
Yeah, I'd probably played like 25 games up to that point, and I didn't even realize until looking back like months later when I knew what the name meant.
I have no recollection whatsoever.
You can look back; the history's probably there.
Yeah, I could, but it's not like in my memory banks. Like, who did I play? Did I win? Did I lose? Did anything interesting happen?
Oh wow, my first game was against Cosmonaut. I think I never played against him again.
Against who?
Cosmonaut, it says here. I think he's a playtester.
All right, now I have to look up who my first game was against.
Well,
I was wrong. I think my first tournament game was against Maxima. My first actual game was against someone named Benil 209. Although Orange Lazarus is 2 of the first 6.
I feel like yes. Okay. My first 2. Oh, that's right. My first 2 games were against Art of War.
Ooh.
And it looks okay. So this is how my game. I'm gonna read starting from the very beginning. L L L L W L L L L L W. And then I think I started like at least there's at least a WLWLW somewhere.
Oh, looking
my
at that, I think I see what got me into like, oh, maybe I can do this. I got that lose game, another 2 against clouds, and then I got like a 1, 2, 3, 4, a 6 win streak, a 6 game win streak,
Nice.
and I think that's what I say. Oh yeah, I can do this, and I started enjoying the game.
No, okay, this is interesting. I forgot about this. Here's my first factions that I played as: Phoenix Elves, Tundra Orcs, Phoenix Elves, Tundra Orcs, Tundra Orcs, Phoenix Elves, Phoenix Elves, Phoenix Elves, Eternal Council. Eternal Council Fungal Dwarves, because that's when they switched up the free factions.
Oh, right.
And my very now I remember, I'm just like going on down memory lane. My very first Eternal Council game, Ogo Pogo, posted the game link to Discord, and mentioned me by name, like, hey, check out this game against Fuzzy Marmot where these interesting things happened. And I don't know that I would have opened my mouth on Discord if not for that. Like, if someone hadn't explicitly hailed me, posted a game link, and wanted to like chat about what it showed about the new factions.
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
that was like my 10th ever game, or 10th ever game, and first with Eternal Council, and probably first post on the Discord, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Well, so I'm curious, Baggins, like what brought you back? I mean, you say the win streak, but also like more broadly, like what makes Summoner Wars appeal to you? What's something you like about it?
What I first enjoyed about Summoner Wars was an specific faction. It was Vanguards. I just love the team of the Vanguards. Like in this world of orcs and everything else that crazy stuff around there, you just have these big guys in armor, and I that's just something that team I really enjoy. And well, I wanted to play more Vanguards. I just wanted to play more, and I already paid my subscription. I was not going to go away in the first week. So yeah, I said like, well, let's play one more the rest of the month, right? So yeah, that was something like, well, I already spent money on this. I want to at least say I spent it. It was worth it, like in time. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at my history, my first like half of my first game were with Vanguards. Yeah, I think and I was not even good at them. Like,
Oh my gosh, that was before the buff too. So you were
yeah,
playing with
Ooh.
the weakest faction. Did you
By
know
far.
that? Like, did you realize like that, okay, everyone loves Vanguards, but they're just not very good with 2 attack value, Sarah?
not until I got into the league. And when I got into the league and looked at the win rates, I was like, oh, that's why I suck.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, that's
How
fun.
long did you play before joining the Discord?
Mm, like maybe 3 months. It was not a lot of games. I think the league really boosted my love for the game, like interacting with the players, especially
Absolutely.
I don't know why. Maybe because I already kind of talked to everyone, but when I was in the lower division of the league, I used to talk a lot with the other players, like a lot.
Yeah.
And maybe because I started interacting more with the players, I at the same time I started sending less direct messages because I was like, oh well, I already know him, and at the end I'm like, hey, GG at the end of the game, and that's it. But I still talk with some of the players, especially in the playtester server.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was like that too. Definitely the lower levels of League were where I was interacting with, like the people that I was intimidated by at the time, but would later become my friends. Just kind of these GGs. Oh, that was interesting. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Shibata, maybe I can ask you as well. How did you first get started playing Summoner Wars?
When I was like 9, my best friend from kindergarten introduced me to the game. I think it was back in like when it just came out, first edition,
Wow.
like 2009, 2010.
Wow.
And I had really enjoyed playing against him. And so we would just play back and forth whenever we had our play dates, and did that until we both got, eventually he lost interest.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to keep playing. But as we moved on to the menu with my games with him, I still wanted to play this really fun game. So I looked up Summoner Wars. I found the forums, back when people used forums, and started just chatting with random people and playing online with Vassal, which was this kind of like tabletop simulator type program. I remember there was a game between me and a guy named I Like Tao, in which we were both like 11 years old, and we were both desperately pretending to be adults. So we used as many fancy vocabulary words as we possibly could in the chat, just like indubitably. I thought
That's
your move
lovely.
was a bit flamboyant, but certainly not superfluous.
So how did you finally realize that you were each 11?
Because somebody else is like, yeah, that guy's a kid. And I'm like, really? He's like, his name is a math pun. Of course it's a child.
Of course.
I don't know.
I'm hunting for something to get, but I like Tao.
Someone said eventually, because we were also bad at like people. Like I remember when someone was like, "How old are you?" I'm like, "I'm not supposed to say that." And they're like, "Oh, so you're like a kid?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." Very poor internet security. Fortunately, everyone there was chill.
I do wonder a little bit, like, is anyone on Discord? Like, after having
Probably.
heard that story from you, I've definitely wondered, like, okay, or who are we interacting with?
I'm sure there's kids on the Discord, and they're making the right decision by not publicizing that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so
I mean,
then,
it's
yeah,
go on.
No, please.
Oh no, I was just saying that like it's always I want to be careful, like not like when people talk about getting together and stuff. Like it's one thing when I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be in town visiting my in-laws, Ben. You're Ben and Jexic. Are you around? Versus if someone's like 12 or whatever, and
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I mean, I feel like the in-person interactions have been some of the best things that Summoner Wars has brought for me, but I'm also cognizant, like, okay, that there could, like, I wouldn't want like kids to be sucked in beyond, their maturity, capability, and like DMing people. Like, I've never been sure what it's like to be a kid on in these gaming forums or really anywhere on the internet. I am old enough for that not to have been an option when I was 12 and lonely. I just had to sit there until I was old enough for college. I don't know what an online community then would have been like.
as the resident youngster, it's pretty similar to what this community is like. I had some friends who fell into like League of Legends and some other communities that were a little less friendly, and a little less
Yeah.
safe, and they had a lot worse times. But if people are just nice and putting up those boundaries to be like to make it impossible for anything bad to happen, or at least as unlikely as possible, then I think it's a good environment for kids to be in because they're there and not somewhere else.
I've definitely wondered, and this is going far afield from Scuffle territory, but like when
Way
people
I said I agreed.
No, but I mean, it's something I was always curious about with you, just because like you were that kid, and like sometimes when like we're like I am proud of our Discord for just shipping LGBT characters. And definitely there's part of me like the internet isn't all bad if this is maybe the only place where that's okay. That's cool. Like these adults are just having fun and just chill about all these kind of ridiculous couplings that people end up finding important.
I
But I
remember,
definitely want. Mhm.
yeah, when I was 10, 11, 12, not being taken seriously really, really got to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, I'm still a human being. I still deserve to be listened to just as much as anybody else. And now I'm an adult, I get why the adults were not listening to the 12-year-old and his opinions about politics. It makes total sense. But having a place where people did treat me like an adult and where I was qualified to talk about things because I was, able to play this board game just as well as anybody else could, led to an environment where I felt like my opinions mattered and it felt like I could positively influence things and make like an intellectual impact. And that really helped my self-esteem during a time in middle school where nobody's self-esteem is good. And so it was I think part of that value and that joy that Summoner Wars brought me is part of why I'm so dedicated to the second edition now. This is my favorite game I've ever played, but even if it wasn't, I think just the personal value it has to me means that it would be the game that I play and that I do all this organization for over anything else.
I feel that way too, even now. Like, I could just not imagine investing in another community like this, even if I got completely sick of the Summoner Wars gameplay.
Do you have any particular story about how you first got started with second edition? How you heard about it and got into it?
I just got sent an article from. I don't actually. You know what I think it was? I think I was browsing that Space Biff board game review site.
Oh yes, I know the Summoner Wars review you're referring to.
Yeah,
you don't have to kill your own units.
You cannot kill your own units for Magic.
Oh, right, in BGG, right?
I think he writes on Board Game Geek, but it's Space Biff is its own site. It's like some guy named Dan Thura, and it's just independent board game reviews and publications.
You know what? He cross posts to both places. Like, it's on his blog and it's a Board Game Geek review.
Makes sense. So yeah, it is Board Game Geek, and the review of how much he liked the game was great for me because it made me find out that the game existed in the first place. And so I looked it up. There was an online mode. I started playing on the games, and then I've been here ever since.
How early did you get in?
Season 4 of the league, so it's like 2021, I think. During when it was just 8 factions, when Phoenix Elves and Thunderlords had came out.
Oh wow! What about you, Baggins? What came out when you were new, or what was the first new faction that came out for you?
Let me check. I'm not really sure. I think when I got in, maybe Tundra Orcs and Phoenix Elf were already released, but I was on the time that Sky Parabians and Cloaks were having a ton of delays. So yeah, I you remember that I had to wait a lot of time to get Cloaks and Sky Parabians to play. So I think I got the game around that time. Season 10 to be exact.
Nice. Do you both play the physical game as well as online?
I do when I can. Far fewer people are able to play it.
No, I have not played the physical game in months, honestly. Since I mostly play with my girlfriend and this is not her kind of game, I try to play, something she really enjoys, like Seven Wonders Duel or Watergate, Dominion, stuff like that. But when I can play it, when I can play it, I try to. But at the same time, I kind of avoid it because it is hard for me to play against a new player, knowing that I have 700 games on my back.
Yeah.
So it's hard on that part.
How about live games? Do either of you have much experience playing live games? I know you've both been on the app for a while.
Well, I never search for live games, but if I end my turn and I see that the other player finished its turn in like 2 minutes away, I'm like, okay, this guy is here, and I try to play as fast as possible to see if the other guy responds.
Yes.
And sometimes it ends up being a live game, and I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah. I respect that. So like you were saying that, or that sometimes you'll spin a wheel to determine your factions, or
Oh no, I always do. No,
you
not
always
sometimes.
do it, not sometimes.
I always do it.
Tell
Yeah.
what does that do for you? Why do you love doing that?
I made it because one time I really wanted to play, but when I click on new game, I was like, God, why do I want to play? And I had analysis paralysis at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I really could not take what to play, and I just made a wheel and spin it, and I spin it 5 times, log the 5 games at the same time, and I found that I play much more that way. Like sometimes I will
Mm-hmm.
log like 2 games, maybe one, and this way I play a lot more. And it's not like a chore. I really enjoy playing it that much, so it helps me play. It helps me play more, so I'm more happy about it.
Wait, so you created that wheel?
It's very easy. I usually use the Wheel of Names app. I think that's the name.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Wheel
Okay,
of Names.
okay. So you created. So it's like it's set up to be a wheel, and you just you like added the
Yeah,
summers. Oh, cool.
yeah. You are meant to put a real person names there. And every time you you roll the wheel, it like it's some kind of effect of congrats, you're the winner, but it's not really a real person in there. It's just, oh god, I have to play breakers again.
Oh my
But with
gosh,
a lot of with a lot of sounds there.
I never knew that was how the wheel worked because people talked on the Discord about spinning that like the wheel decider thingy. And I actually never I knew it existed, but never played that way myself.
I used the wheel decide before, but I think the page is just trash, honestly. Like I have multiple wheels that I can delete, and then recently the server just is not working well. Like I try to change from one wheel to another because I'm like, oh god, this one doesn't have Mountain Vanguard or Crimson Order or stuff like that. I try to change to another wheel and the page just crashes. Or I make changes and try to save them and it doesn't save them, stuff like that. So I started searching for another option, and that's where Wheel of Names came out. The
Nice.
only thing I don't like about Wheel of Names is that I think it always uses the same random number generator because it makes me play breakers again and again and again and again.
That's funny. That's funny. Have you ever thought about the one that Massimo has on the site?
It's just too much work to
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah. It's
But
not
yeah,
it's not a wheel either. Not as pretty.
mhm. Yeah, the wheel, the colorful wheel makes my brain go happy.
The power of spheres.
Ciabatta, I
Well,
want. Sorry, no, go ahead.
no, go on, go on.
I wanted to ask you, Ciabatta, about the Summoner showdowns. So for anyone that doesn't know, the Scuffles is sort of started as the weird little brother to the Summoner showdowns that level 3 CPU and Ciabatta used to host a while back, and it's just the exact same format of let's play a game and then talk about it afterwards. So in many ways, this this event would not be here without it. I'm curious to ask you about how you first got started doing the showdowns way back.
That was all level 3 CPU's creation. He set up the stream. He had all the knickknacks. I was just there as a color commentator, as someone to bounce ideas off of, and as someone to promote it.
Yeah, for sure. And how do you find organizing and and commentating live events or organizing other events? Because I know you've also like organized the Beat the Champ event and all the CBCB tournaments. Like, yeah, how do you find all of that? Yeah.
A lot of it is just kind of polling people, just like asking the community's opinion on the tournaments tab in the Discord, seeing what people say, what people are into, and then trying to go from there. In fact, and I can make this announcement live if you all would like. The new Ciabatta Bing Ciabatta Boom tournament will open up signups. This is live streaming, right? Immediately after this live stream.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, and it will set to start after Tortugatron's Turtle Mania event because I don't want to get in the way of that.
Nice.
That is huge. Well, you heard that here first. Do you want to, just for anyone that hasn't heard of the tournament before, just like give a quick blurb about what it's all about?
Yeah. So the Ciabatta Bing Ciabatta Boom tournament. It was named by someone else, for the record. I'm not that narcissistic. Shortened to CBCB is a series of tournaments that really focuses on team play and working together as a community. So while we used to have like singles events and deck building events too, I'm not going to be doing those anymore because other events like the Planet Games tournaments have kind of filled that niche and are doing a better job, I think. But what you will have are these tournaments of groups of 3, which are 3 people each pick one faction of their choice and play in a best of 3 set against another team. That happens for 3 weeks in groups of 4, a round robin. And then the top between 25 and 50% of the teams, depending on how many teams enter, go into a single elimination bracket for best of 3s to decide the champion. There's a singles event, there's a base deck event, which, as you expect, is just the decks as you know. A deck building event, use any cards you'd like. And new to this one, I will be having a different tournament. This one will be singles, where you do a deck building and it's all one faction. We had a version of that with Oops All Goblins a while ago, and I'm planning to incorporate it into this event.
Is that everyone plays the same faction?
Everyone plays the same faction, but you can deck build however you want within that faction.
So which faction?
I made a poll, and I'm going to check it right now for what faction people would like for this event for the first one.
That sounds super exciting. And yeah, I feel like the CBCB is like the only place that we get to see team games, team competitive play, which, and somehow I've never found myself in one, but I've heard only good things, that it's a lot of fun to work with your teammates in those games.
And we've got it right here. Yeah, it's tons of fun. All team play is allowed, by the way. So you can talk to your teammates, you can ask them advice. You can work together to decide what boobs to be made. As long as you can get it done within the 3-day clock, and it's 1 game a week per player, as long as you can get the game done within that time, you're free to work however you'd like. And right here, I have the faction that we'll be doing for the single faction tournament. By 1 vote, taking it narrowly over the Wayfarers and the Sand Goblins, who are second place finishers, we have the Mountain Vargas.
Oh, wow.
Where did you post this? I actually missed this.
December
Or is this-
16th, at Tournament Player, which faction would you most like to see in a single faction deck building tournament,
Gosh.
similar to Uthal Goblins? I said Cave Goblins are disqualified because we did them already. And Psyker, however you pronounce it,
Yeah.
still put
Fizka.
Cave Goblins.
Wait, what did he say?
Fish,
Wait,
still put Cave Goblins. I said they're banned because we did them already. You still put them down. Commitment to the
Nice.
bit.
Nice. I've just been like following him around. Like he did that like CG top tier in the Deepwood Groks channel, and I've just been like following him around, ribbiting at him every time he does that.
I just love that it started as a meme, and as soon as Joe posted the win rate, it was like, oh wow, cave goblins are really top tier.
It is the top tier meme from this server.
No, Joe's lists definitely surprised me with that podcast episode of like who which factions do actually have the highest win rate and what's the worst matchups. I don't think I would have guessed anything right out of what he actually reported as the the cold hard data.
Savannah Elves, known as the strongest faction, do pretty poorly, and then Cave Goblins pop off and a couple others.
Hi, little guy. All right,
Yeah.
I think this is actually my cue. I've reached my hard stop.
No,
Totally fair.
no worries, no worries.
Well, thank you so much for having this and for having me on. While I did not perform in the Summoner Wars the way I wanted, it was great playing with you all nonetheless. There's the 11-year-old me coming back. Got to use the big words.
Yeah, thank you for having me too.
Thank you both so much for coming on. It was great to see the game and great to hear about your guys' stories and get to chat with you. Hopefully we'll see you around soon and see you in the Discord server.
See you around.
All right, good stuff. See you later.
Take care.
Bye.
And I will also be looking forward to the CBCB tournament. Heard it here first. Coming back soon as soon as Turtle Mania is closed. And yeah, so Scuffles are bi-weekly at this point. So in another 2 weeks, we'll have another one, and we'll see you guys then. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you later.